Hello everyone, this is Bruce, GC Railfan here. Right, I'm going to go into something which, as you can see by the screen, is something quite predictable. It's a very hot topic in the whole of the rail simming community, and I think it's about time I gave my thoughts on it. We're now in, oh god, what day are we? 1, 2, 3. I think we're on day 3 of the beta program, or Betamax, the beta blockers. Yes, we're on day 3 of the beta blocker program. We'll go with that. And I thought, you know what? Now stuff's starting to come out in the wash of people's thoughts on the Steam forums and everything else. I thought, as best as I could, I would give my viewpoint on TSW, the beta program in general, and basically a lot of things tied in with that. It's going to be a bit of a long shot. I will say now, right from the off the bat, I do not have access to the beta. I did not go through the parameters to get the Train Sim World beta. That was deliberate. One, because I can't be asked to do beta testing to an extent. I haven't got the. I'd say I can't be asked. I haven't physically got the time to spend hours on the game over the course of 8-9 days, however long it's open for, to actually get some decent faults down and report them. I am a full-time worker. I have not got time to, sit on the computer all day and do it. Kudos to those of you who do, because you're the guys who help make things happen. Gamers who are very dedicated and assign more time to these sorts of things than I do are the people who make the gaming community what it is and cause it to progress as much as the developers do. And for that I am grateful. So I will say now, I do not have the beta. Train Sim World. It's a good one, as you can tell by the long sigh you probably just heard. In the background, yeah. I'm happy in the sense that we're making this next step in Rail Sim evolution. I have not got a problem with that. It's good. We need to progress. The current train simulator has many faults, as you all know. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of that. Because we know what all those faults are. People have issues with it all the time. We get temp dumps now, or for those who haven't played it for a while, what was commonly known as something bad has happened. Would you like to save that? Nothing's file. And stuff like that. And it's good that it's good that DTG, they are trying to get the train simming world into the next generation. It is not a bad time to do it. Compared with other game releases, okay, I'm not going to compare it to sim games like simulation programs, but I will compare it to the likes of big releases like GTA, Far Cry, the latest one in the series, whatever that were fucking called, and I can't remember what number we're on. I think it's 3, 4, bloody 4.5, or whatever it is now. Big games like that, and they run on more modern engines like the Unreal type engines. Train Sim Beta, for those who don't know, Train Sim World rather, is going to be using the Unreal 4 engine. It's a slightly older engine, but it's a lot better than the one they've currently got. The current game engine has been in existence for about 10 years? It's got to be something decent. It's got to be something as long as that, near enough. And it's about time it changed. The beta is obviously for testing. It's also supposed to give us a kind of, I say a kind of, I'll get to this later. It's kind of supposed to give us a taste of what's to come and what can be, repaired, how it's going to shape up and everything else. That's great. That's what betas are for. The thing that kind of got me was the specs required for the Unreal 4 sim, and I'm going to try and find it because you're sat watching this screen and you have no idea what's going on. Let's have a look around for it. Basically, they came up with a minimum, a recommended, and an ideal. They called it ideal specs. So it's kind of a case of, you know, pat on the back sort of thing. They've told us what they want us to have. I've calculated some of the costs of rebuilding my computer, and at the moment I'm happy with the computer, the desktop I have got, and the setup. It's not good, it's not brilliant. I've got a crappy Intel G2020 processor. It's locked at 2.9 gigahertz. I've got 8 gigs of RAM. I've got a shit motherboard. I've got a GTX 750 Ti 8GB system RAM. It plays what I want to play. And, you know, to play Train Sim World is going to mean I'm going to 95% definitely going to have to upgrade my system, and I don't know where the bloody specs are. Ignore that tilt jet window, you're not supposed to see that. Yes, if I just have a quick search, Train Sim World, system specifications. And you're probably thinking, why didn't you learn it before? Yeah, I know, I should have looked for it. Hardware required, thank God for that. Oh, 1st September, no wonder I couldn't find it on the website. It's bloody miles back. Expensive, direct link to the video. Where to start? Oh God, we've launched this up. There we go. Right, these were the anticipated specs here, which were, that's interesting, 2 gigahertz dual core. That's been upped tremendously. It was supposed to be 2 gigahertz, so now looking at about 2.93 gigahertz. But basically, I'll get to the point. It's a very, 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 very sad. I've now broken whatever I was recording. We're on 7 minutes, good. Yes, I have broken it. Where's the red line gone to sound record? Oh, I can just see it. Yeah, basically, they have changed the milepost. They have changed the marker on what you need recommendation-wise. And that was to kind of half be expected, but if the ETG got their shit together, which they never usually do, sorry to be critical of you, DTG, if you are watching, but hey-ho. You know, it's not a surprise. I half expected it. The beta, I haven't got it. I've heard a lot of things about it so far. I know a few people who have got access to it, and some are getting some really good frame rates, and there's a lot of people who aren't, and they have got the system spec requirements, and that's another thing I'm going to get onto. The major issue is they're trying to release something for people to obviously get their hands around and everything else, and at the moment it's not really looking promising to me. It looks very, I'd say it's gimmicky, and a lot of people are going to criticise me for that. Oh, it looks more realistic. Yes, it does look realistic, but to me it's gimmicky. It's, oh look, shiny, shiny, shiny sort of thing, and we're only going to know how it's going to balance out, you know, when the proof's in the pudding, when it is actually out in my book. I didn't get the beta, as I said, A, because I didn't get time, and plus B, this is another thing. The way DTG set out their statement in, oh my good lord, September. In fact, I was away in Norfolk at the time, and I watched a video on the laptop about their announcement. Watching it buffer every 5 seconds, my god. But yes, we did that, and yeah, I remember watching the video, and you know, it was sounding promising, it sounded good, but the way they structured it, saying, right, you will get access to the beta if you do X, Y, Z. If you have the Pioneers Edition, you have the if you don't buy Pioneers Edition but you have the DLC to go with it, then you get to it. A lot of people are under the false assumption that access to beta meant they got access to all the beta versions, which I don't know if it is true. I don't think it is, because by the sound of it, you get 9 days of beta and that's it, which is a bit of a scam. Talk about trying to get money out of people's wallets. Criticise me if you like, you're very welcome, but it's screwing over the gamers. And it's a bit ridiculous because they're saying, "Hey, look, I'm trying to find. There we go. I'll have a look. I'll bring that up so you got something else to look at. Hey, look, if you buy the updated version of TS 2016, which is obviously TS 2017, it's normally just a new splash screen and a few basic updates and the odd bit of DLC. You get access to shiny thing, and it's a bit of a false conception because there's many people out there who believe they get access to it, or they get in the game for free. There are people who do believe that, by the way. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but there you go. And so on and so forth. So I kind of feel they have somewhat misled some of the supporters of their products in general into this false sense of you are going to get a proper beta pre-release access all the way through, and it's like, no, not cool. So that's griped me a bit, because I am a man who believes, if you're going to do something that way, you need to make sure it's black and white for the gaming community, and it hasn't been. So that is a big thing in my book. So yeah, that they have, given you CSX heavy haul. So as you say here, you'll find the SD40-2. I do apologise, it's been a long day. Box cars and everything else, scenarios, blah blah blah. Ah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. The specifications. So there's that. There's a lot of people under false assumptions, and it's not cool. Right, these are the actual system specifications. Minimum is a i5 at 3 GHz, GeForce 750 Ti or equivalent. Yay me, I scraped the barrel just. Video RAM 2 GB, system RAM 8 GB, hard disk 20 GB free. Recommended i5 3.5, GeForce 970 or equivalent, 4 GB video RAM, system RAM 8 GB, 20 GB free free on the hard drive. Ideal is a 4790 at 3.5 GHz. That makes no sense to me, but anyway. GeForce GTX 1080 or equivalent, so have the most expensive graphics card on the planet, which most people aren't going to be able to afford, I'm not going to lie. 6 GB of video RAM, system RAM 16 GB or more. Why, I don't know. If the recommended system RAM is 8 GB, why the bloody hell do you need 16? Surely it's not going to take more than 8 GB of RAM to run the bloody game. That already screams to me lack of optimization. Hard disk, SSD, and 20 GB free. Now I'm trying to figure out this SSD bit, because normally if you put an SSD in a computer, what do? You put your OS on it. If you put a game on it, it's normally a very select game, or something that will benefit it. So are they saying that you ought to put this on an SSD? Because that's another expensive. Well, I'll say expensive. If you want a decent size one, that's another expensive upgrade. And this already screams like it's going to be good, but it's also going to flop on its face in proper Dovetail game style. As always, it's been the same throughout the bloody history of Train Simulator. It was the same at Rail Simulator Company, or RSC, and it's been the same with DTG. Few names and faces have changed, most of them are the same. They still follow the same principles. They scream as coming across as enthusiasts. They seem to believe that they know what they're doing. To me, they don't. If they were proper game developers, they would have fixed a lot of things before they even released the beta. So we'll get on to that. So we'll pop onto the Steam forum here, and obviously I'm not logged in on Steam here on my browser because I use the app. But it's saying FPS is very low. This guy up here Make sure you're in full screen to read all this. So he's got a Core i7, so he's got to have a decent bloody speed on that. 16GB GTX 1080, high settings, TSAA, average FPS in scenario 20 to 30, sometimes 50, near tunnel about 15 FPS. Actually, game is unplayable. I hope you fix this soon. This guy sounds like he has got quite a decent system from what we know. Why in the hell can he not run that game? Why? Because it's not optimized. Why has DTG decided to release a beta for inverted commas testing purposes when it's just been degraded and boiled down to the game crashes, there's low frame rates, it's unplayable? They are the three main things that a lot of people are reporting, even with high spec systems. And this is the problem. To me, and to a lot of people who watch this video, who guys who follow me, who talk to me day in day out, who watch this channel, you'll understand exactly where I'm coming from, which is if you have a beta, it is to test the playability, the functionality, what you're getting out of the game, and everything else to make sure it is what the people who are playing it want. And this is a waste of time. This is going to be 8 or 9 days of people screaming about not having good frame rates. Why have DTG wasted their time and everyone's money? Because in the end, if you think about it, yes, they've got to put a lot of capital up front to invest in a game. I dare say, I don't know how it works. But all the money that we pay on DLC, the core games we have in the past, has all gone towards this. So in a way, they're wasting our money doing this. And it's a bit of a farce. Guy here saying, nice username by the way, 37114. Hellfire. I have the same spec and then experience in the same. Does lowering those very high settings give an improved playability? Another one here. There you go. i7 4.2 GHz 980 Ti 480GB SSD Win 7 64-bit. A lot of people use Windows 7 still. I can understand why. And it runs like a dog. Whether that's a Jack Russell or a Bulldog, I don't know. Hopefully it's got 4 legs and not 3. Although then again, in DTG style, it's probably a 3-legged dog that's blind, deaf, and only farts as its only means of communication. Slowest game I have had with lots of textures loading slow, stuttering, never have any problems with other games. Running at higher ultra settings, I can even run the old TS 2017 at 4K with no problems. I hope it can be fixed, otherwise it's a non-starter. That's already screaming a problem. Running 4K with two 1080s, I assume that's in SLI or else it won't work. 35 FPS give or take. Why? And textures are dithering when I go to FX8A. I'd prefer an upgraded TS17 to DX10 or DX11 over this. This is not a final game or an optimized version. Now, DTG did say that on their website that it was very much an early beta access. And I understand that it is an early beta. If it's that early a beta, then why is it not called the bloody alpha? I know that makes no sense to me either. You might as well call it an alpha build, because that is technically what it is. There you go. It's not max possible settings. Max settings is ultra. I'm updating my video drive right now. Maybe it help. Right, this guy's running on full HD ultra without anti-aliasing, using 32 megabits second in home streaming, high quality with software encoder. 28 FPS in tutorial 2, moving around the loco, and up to 41 low range is 15. Wow. 31 to 41 around the loco on low setting. This guy's got an i5 4670K. Oh right, yeah, 4670K. Yeah, decent processor. 16GB. Well, it's got fast speed, HD, Sapphire. Okay, it's that factory clock. Factory clock. So he's on a. What's the name of the other company? Shit. Radeon, whatever they are. Same FPS and in TS20 on the map, FPS. You know, these guys, look at this. Pascal, there you go. Guessing it's optimization or memory issue on lower grade GPUs. I'm running Nvidia's latest game ready drivers. Sorry you guys are having a bad time. This guy's having fine. But there's, you know, I have 755 OC. that's similar specs to what I've got really, but there you go. Guess my card is a bit of a century compared to a GTX 1080, yeah. But it should still run it, you know. Low FPS and everything else. People are screaming low FPS. Why? There we go, just a word. SLI and Crossfire don't work with UE4. What in the actual fuck? So, why didn't they say the SLI wouldn't work? So people who've got SLI cards who are testing this game do not know that their SLI will not count if they're not clued up with UE4. What in the shit? I thought the whole point of this upgrade and new game was that it had multiple core processing. It supported a 64-bit processing algorithm, whatever you want to call it, right? Instead of 32-bit like it currently is. The whole point was to have these options open, and they're not. There we go. FPS is down. Another one with high things there. I mean, I'll put the link into the thread, into the video description, you know. Change res. Ultra, no sync stream. Someone's getting 40 FPS. You know, on this game you should be getting 60 FPS. I know it's a beta. I know it's for testing. But why have they released such an unoptimized bloody version? Why? And why also tease us with, here's a early access beta. Right, great. Have an early access beta. That's fantastic. So people want to see what it's like, and at the minute it's shitting on a lot of people's computers, and it's dousing their dreams of how good this is supposed to be. DTG message for you. If this is supposed to be so bloody good, then why didn't you make it good for the beta testing purposes? Oh, that's right, because you make shortcuts as per bloody usual. Thank you for wasting everyone's time and fucking money. Doing the first mission. Mission? Yay! Mission! Mission. Not a scenario, it's a mission. Mission. Yeah, let's kill Nazis, yay. But there you go. I don't know if it's bugged. Oh, right, there's another bug. I was getting 6-7 FPS on ultra graphics and very jerky frame rate. It's like, what the shit? This guy has got a 3.5. Okay, I don't know how good the R7 is nowadays, but okay, it's 2 gig. That's probably why, but his graphics card let him down a bit there. But the processor's fine. Jesus Christ. 20 to 50 FPS from my i7 processor, MSI GTX 970, with over 1 TB storage. Yeah. So the people are saying it's the. So this guy's saying it's the processor that's the bottleneck. Wow. I don't know what to make of all this. I really don't. This is a bit shit. The whole thing is just a bit shit. It's ridiculous. Right. Okay. Adam Beckett. Now this guy is really good. Whoever you are, if you watch this video, you, sir, are a legend. You are good. This guy has been very predominant in this Fred. Hello, Fred. Hi, Fred. Has been very predominant in this thread. I'm experiencing that the frame rate is not depending on the dependent. Learn to grammar. Nazi. On the graphics quality setting on my GTX 960 ATI, whatever, right. I choose low preset, TAA, stroke FXAA off, so the anti-aliasing's been switched off, non-sync, and I get the same frame rate window when switching to Ultra, TAA on VSync, etc., which tells me this is typical optimization problem, inverted commas, as in beta, will be improved day by day before final release. Could be that the physics part of the simulation is slowing everything down, or else. That made no sense either, but you get the general gist. Nice thing is the computer's frame rate is no longer dependent on draw distance, like it is in the current engine. Right. See also known issues on the official forums. Notice you are leaving stick. You're not an antivirus. Ah. I see. Right. I can't be asked for that. But yeah, there you go. And it chugs along. Available 8 times 4.5, which is equally a good sign. beating code is not eating up 100% of resources. There is room for optimization, and again, beta code. So he has a point. It's not been optimized. It will be worked on. So perhaps I am being a little heavy-handed in my views here, but yeah. Jerking and lagging on high, impossible to run on ultra. What the fuck? Yeah, I know. There we go. But excuse me. Okay. Well, this guy says that this guy above is a troll. Good. Yeah, whatever. Agree. I have a relatively powerful, though aging computer, and I'm running less than 10 FPS and sometimes 5 FPS. This low FPS making the game absolutely unplayable. The game seems to be heavily CPU bottlenecked, which is why the dude with the 5960X is getting good frames and the rest was on. There is a guy who has got a 5960X. This is, for those who don't really know your Intel processors, I think it's an i5 or i7, that is a server grade processor. So it's near enough, I think my mate said it was around £1,000 processor or some shit like that. It's a server grade processor, it can handle loads of shit, so yeah. But who realistically is going to spend that money? I certainly ain't. I've got better things to waste my money on, if I'm perfectly honest. Except there was tons of people running 2 Titans, GTX, right, there we go, yeah. That's interesting. So this guy said SLI crossovers, which one is nowadays anyway. You can buy one card that's better and cheaper than buying 2 lower end cards for SLI crossfire. Well, you say that, people have 1080s in bloody thing because they're wank contesters. It's like, look at me, I've got a longer penis than you. You know, the message to the guys, look, I know there are YouTube channel guys who, I won't say I'm friends with them anymore, but anyway, you know, there's YouTube guys who I know and talk to. Yes, I know you've got big bulgy processors, big bloody graphics card. Yay, congratulations. Yeah, I've got a 1080. Ooh, look at me. Oh, I've got an i7 Devils Canyon and all this, that and the other. Yeah, whatever. You know, great. You've got the money. You're doing it as a bloody penis comparison contest. It's like comparing a BMW to the short-ass, bald-headed runt who drives around in a frigging BMW X5. It's stupid. Then we've got something here. Doesn't UE4 support DirectX 12? Not sure if the UE4 version that DTG owns uses supports DX12 and or multi-adapter. That's something different. That could have an impact on it. You know, but there's a lot of people who are saying lots of stuff on here. You know, I mean, I know it's the future of gaming. We're going to have to get big cards at some point, but do we really need to have 1080s to run a simulator game? You know, GeForce 1080 is the ideal. Why? That, you know, these cards are fetching about, well, if you go on Amazon at least, if you do around, it's about 450 quid for one of these things. 450 quid. If you want that processor, again, about what, 350, 400? I can't remember what it was. I had a look the other day. You know, if you did a full system build or rebuild around wanting TSW, I'll say wait until, you know, it's been about a year or so, then worry about it. Because at the end of the day, to me, there's no point updating your computer for one game. It makes no sense. I dare say lots of you play other games. Me, I play certain games. Some of them are older. I'm happy with the system I've got. Touch wood, it's reliable. It does what I want it to do. I'm happy with it. And I think the same could be said for a lot of people. Some people don't even have the money to, you know, refurbish their computers, especially some younger people in their mid-teens. You know, I feel for you guys who don't work. Put it that way. I do remember the years of teenage hardship. But yes, moving aside, you know, why? Just why? You know, they want you to have the most expensive graphics card, the most expensive processors, etc., etc., to run this thing on a recommended setting. Why? DTG, we are not NASA. We are not funded by the US government to have super duper bloody NASA rocket scientists, bloody 3D printing bloody shit machines. We do not have that. There you go. Indeed, when they implement multi-core, that'll make a huge difference. So they're not even implementing multi-core. What the shit? This is what I'm saying. You know, that should have already been in the beta code. Why have a beta that's not optimized with multi-core already, etc., etc., so people can actually give a better critical evaluation of what's coming? They've done it wrong. It's shit. I'm not going to lie. i5, 8GB of RAM, 1 Asus Radeon, game is unplayable. Well, there you go, you have got a HD 7770. Presets. Now, there's some people with some expensive systems here. But yeah, I'm going to, there we go. This is the killer. This is the proper one. So, this guy Beckett has commented again. He's a great guy. He seems to speak his mind. I have a. Let me read this one. Comes as a single core dependent, it seems. One of my cores is really being loaded down heavily. This is not a well optimized game, and the graphic settings are poor for actually tweaking for better performance. As I see no real difference in performance from one to the other preset, I don't have much hope for DTG to make any improvements in 2 months if this is the result after years either. It seems the game might suffer from the same issues TS does currently. Heavy single core usage, I get the whole higher clock speed need and all, but this should be optimized to use multiple cores, not just one. So, this disclaimer, this is Adam's comment, he just obviously quoted the guy before him. So they want feedback. Yep, we get that. I agree. They should have optimized and implemented significant hardware-related optimizations because they want feedback. Again, 100% agreed. Having feedback reduced to it crashes, black screen, it runs poorly is exactly why they should have optimized before they released the beta build. I totally agree. This is what a beta is about. It shouldn't be boiling down to those three things. They want feedback on gameplay, UI changes, etc., not on hardware incompatibilities or poor frame rates. The longer I look at this thing, the more I am leaning to the conclusion that one, DTG developers are hobbyist amateurs. I've been saying this for years. He's basically saying they've got no programming experience or skills at all beyond route making scripting. I agree. They embrace the Unreal Engine editor in the most superficial way. That's a Facebook notification. I'm not going to look at the message because I dread to think what will come up as on Bandicam. As in the exact same approach. They are now just clicking the inside the fancy Unreal flowchart editor. Agreed. Oh, look at this. It does this. Now, this is interesting. They wanted to release it on Xbox One. Why does he put it at Xbone? I'll just read Xbone. What's an Xbone? Jesus Christ, Xbone. A bit of a. Now we've got alphabet bones. If this is what they're willing to propose to Microsoft, it won't pass the certification, is what it's saying. Console gamers won't touch this. In my honest opinion, great idea to expand the audience and business to consider will fail. I agree. It's a sim, not a game. Argument has become irrelevant. They clearly want the gaming audience, therefore they have to adjust to the much higher demands of that kind of audience. Agreed. What the company would need to seasons. There you go. Console and PC developers saying DTG needs to pull the finger out of the rectum, and they haven't. They've been sitting on their laurels. They've been doing the same shit time and time and time again. It's ridiculous. The only way we're going to change this is if we boycott it. If this turns out to be a pile of shit, we need to just say it right. Fuck you, DTG, and dump it. You know, it's well said. You know, it's about time that we had a game that worked properly and everything else. You know, it's about time that we got that. But we're not getting that. Why has that just flashed up? Get lost. Bloody stupid notifications. And, you know, that's the thing. I'm not going to be impressed if, you know, what my plan of action is, and I recommend this to whoever watches this who is unsure about the game. Wait for it to come out. Keep playing the current game, TS 2017. The fan base will be very strong for that. That's got another 10 years left in it. That will become the new MSTS on the community side because it's a lot graphically better than MSTS and it runs on modern machines. A lot of people now are having issues as time goes on trying to run open rails on Windows 10, stuff like that. So it would be the replacement for MSTS, right? So that's cool. Stick with TS 2017 if you're unsure. Wait for the games to come out. and I'd say give it some time for some content to build up. If, like me, you only want to play British stuff, I don't know what the DTG are planning for the content situation. This is another thing as well. We're in the dark. I know it's really early days with this, but I just have this funny feeling what they're going to do is, bam, there's a game, it's released. Same day, load of DLC goes up, which you have to buy optionally. You know, I don't know how much this game's going to be. It's going to be bloody expensive. But I'd say wait. I literally will say wait and see what happens, because if this crashes and burns, you will not want to be spending £35 or £40 on a core simulation and whatever else is required for content wise to get up and going with this game if it's going to disappoint you. There is no point. It'll be throwing money down a drain. DTG, you need to prove yourselves, you need to be answerable. It's a beta, we know it's supposed to be tested, but you really must try harder. That is it from me at GC Railfan. Please comment. Please comment. I'll be very, very interested to see what your thoughts are. And I will see you again next time.